We could not find a more distinguished American officer to tell your story to America and to the world media about the significance of this event than our next speaker, General Idaho. Sir, the deck is yours.
Good morning. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm honored and I'm humbled to have been invited here. This is not my forte, speaking before a large audience. What I'll say to you comes from the heart. I especially want to address my remarks at the Hmong leadership and the American leadership of those people who commanded American units and fought in the secret war in Laos. My simple appeal is that we all come together, both Hmong and Americans, Ravens, Air America, Bird Air, Special Forces, the case officers that you knew that committed you to battle, that we all come together and try to resolve the refugee problem since 1975 in the refugee camps in Thailand. And further, to change the government system in Laos so that many of you people can go back to Laos and that we can stop the abuse and persecution among citizens who are presently in Laos. I am sorry that General Vang Pao and Kun Bill Lair, who I think were the two greatest or equally as great as any people that was in this movement, they the ringleaders from the start, for one reason or other, are not here today. And I would hope that any future gathering, they would be here. Nearly 34 years ago, in the fall of 1960, I met with then Major Vang Pao and Mr. Bill Lair, a little village overlooking the PDJ, Padong. I know you're all familiar with it. And we primarily drank that terribly strong and effective Lao whiskey, Hmong whiskey, out of a long bamboo shoot and got thoroughly drunk and sick. But we also talked about the Hmong and the U.S. government's requirement for them to participate in our secret war in Laos. We drank a lot and we did a lot of promising. And we Americans agreed to provide you the wherewithal to wage war against the communists. And you in turn pledged that you would fight the communist enemy in Laos, and you did. In those early days, the United States government was looking for allies to support their policies in Southeast Asia. And the Lao Hmong were seeking their freedom and equal rights as free citizens of Laos. Not only were you seeking freedom and equal rights, but you were willing to fight and die for it. And that day agreements was reached, and General Vang Pao, then Major Vang Pao, organized and led his forces and his people day and the days to follow. And I want to remind you at that time, early in the game, we even talked about a safe haven over on the Thai border in case the Hmong were overrun in Military Region 2. You sacrificed thousands of your young, brave people, both men and women, in the belief that the United States of America would stay the course until final victory And of course, it's obvious we did not. And so today we are gathered here today to pay tribute to the most brave and loyal group of combat soldiers that I've ever known, and to those who made the supreme sacrifice, and to their families. I want you to know that what my government did to your people, the Lao tribes, is inexcusable. I've watched the program for 14 years from various vantage points. And I saw you sacrifice the lives of your young men, your homeland, and your freedom. And then I watched Uncle Sam withdraw without ever looking back. I can remember in the 60s when the Lao Hmong had succeeded in tying down thousands of North Vietnamese Viet Minh soldiers, and they were the best the North Vietnamese had. And this resulted in the U.S. taking far smaller losses in the war in South Vietnam than if we had not tied up those divisions in Military Region 2. Your constant attacks on the Ho Chi Minh Trail stopped the flow of supplies to the south. And your protection of Site 36, which we used as a recovery base for our downed airmen, and the radar bombing facility at Site 85 were invaluable to the United States bombing offensive against the North Vietnamese. Through all these years, the CIA and the State Department pressured you to increase your activities in northern Laos. Your response was always positive, regardless of the terrible suffering you endured. Your villages came under fire, and many of your family members were killed or wounded, and more than 10% of your people were casualties. That would be equivalent to about 50 million Americans if we were based it on that, the population ratio. And of course, these were your finest young men, many of your finest, but you still remained a staunch and loyal ally. We Americans here today are veterans of the United States secret war in Laos. And we're very familiar with what your nation did for those many years, 14 to be exact, of conflict in that secret war to assist U.S. policy. And what did we do for you, our staunch and loyal ally? As I said before, we provided you the wherewithal to pursue the war as long as it served our purpose. Then when our policymakers, if you've read Mr. McNamara's book that we gave up very early in the game, we decided to withdraw from Laos in 1970 allies, and they are the most loyal allies we've had in American history. I humbly seek your support and that of our American organizations in settling this long overdue obligation to the Hmong people. God bless you.